So this is an interview with Katie Davis, visiting from Maui, Hawaii to Dallas. And it's about, what month are we in?
January.
January '08. Good, so Texas in the wintertime.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the one question that came up that I don't know that we answered is what can people expect to get out of satsang? What's in it for them? Is that a question you'd even ask?
Sure, a lot of people do ask that question.
Okay.
But as that personal sense of self that's asking it, that's the false or dreaming I that's actually asking it. So when they ask, what am I going to get out of it? The answer really is absolutely nothing. And the reason for that is it is the dreaming I that is the delusion, and that is surrendered. So, in its place, there's unending joy. So in a sense, you're giving up this idea of me, and in its place, you're realizing that you are joy.
Okay, so the reason I would go to satsang is to stop being me.
To get over the separate sense of self. But you see, even that, it insinuates that there is someone there who can do something about it. You know, I'm going to go to satsang in order to get over the idea of me. And basically, satsang is a coming together, a gathering together to just rest and be. Just resting in I am. And allowing wisdom to do its work. Just being still. Stopping all of your striving and attaining. Bring it to satsang and just be together in a group. There's a synergy when a group of people come together. It's always there, but for some reason it's stronger. The presence, the field is stronger when a group of people gather together. And so the more often you can gather in satsang, really, the more stabilized you are, the slower mind is, fewer thoughts, and eventually the mind is still. But if even for an instant, if there is a break in the mind stream, you fall through into the stillness that you really are. The mind parts just like morning clouds in the sun. And you realize this joy of being that is always here. It's not something that you become, it's something that you are naturally as a human being.
Okay, so what I can expect to get out of it is a different sense of myself or of life, maybe?
Mm-hmm. Well, you realize that I is not separate from the divinity that rests within you. That we are all essence. And this idea of separation that causes all of the suffering, not only within ourselves, but within our relationships, within the world, is all caused from this idea of being separate. Yes, the individual obviously still is appearing, but your identity isn't resting within an independent, separate self. You're resting in the conscious awareness of essence. You are this essence. So, separation is no longer there. And the other big impediment is you're not the body. The body's not excluded, of course. In fact, it's the entry into the inner body is through the physical body. It's just that you're not limited to your physical form.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is the false assumption that we learn when we're very little and never really investigated. We just assumed it to be true. I is the body, and I'm separate from essence. And that's the setup that we try to build a happy life on and keep trying to be happy and trying to be fulfilled. And it's always a mystery that there's always something that seems to be lacking.
Right. People all seem to have that sense of I'm not quite enough.
Right, and that not quite enough will never be fulfilled on the outside. No matter how many separate fractions you try to add to this fractional self,
Mm-hmm.
it's still going to be lacking because it still believes itself to be a fraction. Ultimate fulfillment comes from realizing that this individuality is really not true as identity. And you realize your completeness as being the totality of all existence.
Oh, well, so is that really possible?
Yes.
For
yes.
me, for example?
Not for me.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? Because that me, as soon as you step into the character of me, I am the body,
Mm-hmm.
It seems like there's a veil. And you can't see it. It's like you have your back to it. So if we can investigate, just curiously look inside to inquire, who is this I? Or who am I? And then listen and see who's there, or if there's anything there. Is there anyone really here? And I am suggesting that there is no separate sense of self. When you look, you can't find one. You may find a thought, I am Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a man that has a family. I live in Dallas. And those are all partial thoughts. Describe you in part, but not completely. So you're never going to find yourself complete within thought. There's no sense of self here. But you can't just assume that as another idea. I mean, that would be the same as the primary delusion when we were little and said, well, I am the body. If you just accept the fact, well, I'm nobody, that's just another assumption. But if you will investigate for yourself, and this is the thing about self-discovery, is that everything must be directly experienced. And that's done through watching.